Hey guys, Mobile Gamers Unite. I just got done running my Listell that I picked up yesterday. I wanted to do a quick video because I'm already seeing some misconception online. People have been trying to review this unit and they don't even have her. Okay, one of the people was just looking at the Wikipedia page and was like, you want this? You want to equip her with this, just anything that's magic defense. Just go all magic defense. Some of the things he said was partially correct, but I'm finding that she's completely different character type to play than anything else. So forget about the status quo. Alright, first of all, let's talk about her equipment. Okay. And a lot of people say that the speed boots are the best thing to put on her, and I'll halfway agree with that. You can put speed boots on her if you're using a flyer unit with her. If you're not using a flyer unit and your unit could only move 3 blocks, then these boots are worthless. You're much better off putting something like Blood Pact on her, which gives her a whole bunch of hit points, which in turn makes her it makes her do more damage. Because remember, her AoE move, kind of her bread and butter, is that she does 50% of her hit points to her, but then everybody else takes double that, which is awesome. Okay, so having an item that adds a bunch of hit points adds a bunch of damage to that, and it's already a ridiculous amount of damage. On top of that, she applies her curse onto everybody. So the next thing I want to talk about is her runestone set. And as you can see, I have mine with Tree of Life, and that's because of the hit points. Also a little bit of magic defense, that can't go wrong. And the fact that she kind of buffs everybody around her, I think that's great. And it's been working wonders for me. Some other people said to put clock on her. When I heard that, I about dropped my coffee. Okay, and this, of course, is from somebody that doesn't actually have the character, and he's telling everybody to put clock on her. Why am I going to go against that? Well, let's see. Let's really actually look at her moves. 2-turn cooldown. 2-turn cooldown. Okay, so why are we putting clock on that? And I could understand for Lana that has Earthquake or Black Hole that has a 5-turn cooldown. Hey, if clock procs for that and you get to throw Black Hole 2 turns in a row, that's a game changer. Given, okay? So, but that's Lana. She's got 5-turn cooldown abilities. A character that has 2-turn cooldown abilities should not have clock on her. It's just a major waste of clock runes that you could put on somebody that actually has 5-turn cooldowns. I mean, that clock's gonna proc, and ooh, I got rid of a 1-turn cooldown. Great, you would have had that ability next turn anyway. And the way that this character works, she doesn't really want to spam the same thing over and over again. She wants to switch back between these two. This one's going to AoE, and it's going to hit everybody. It's going to take some of her health, but it's going to do double her health to them in damage. Then the next turn, you're not going to want to use it again. You're going to want to use Siphon, which will heal you. And this is great. What I love about Siphon, the actual mechanic of how it works, is it's wonderful with the vampire bats. Because what happens is, even if your bats die off, you get to use Siphon to heal yourself and then regenerate some of the bats. Then, even if the bats were dead, they get to use their blood suck ability, because technically they're not dead anymore because Siphon brought them back. So you're going to be doing a lot more vampire bat healing even when your bats get killed off, as long as you're using Siphon, which is great. Also, I've noticed that because of the 30 to 40% of her defense and magic defense that she gives to the bats, they're way more resilient. And the last thing that I really want to say about her that's really important is she is not weak against anything. Okay, it says right here under Blood Queen, Unit ignores class disadvantages, okay? And at first I thought this was just her, okay? Great. She's not weak against, holy units. Okay, I can see how that's useful. Come to find out, guys, this affects her troops as well. Yes, you heard it here. Vampire bats are no longer weak against archers. Oh my goodness, that was such an awesome surprise. So, this is really, really a cool character. And I mean, you can now send your flyer unit out to headhunt archers. I was just doing it. It feels great. It's awesome. She's going to get to those archers quick because, I mean, you probably have those boots on her for added movement if she's running a flyer unit. It's just awesome, okay? And the amount of defensiveness that she has makes up for the lack of, well, the amount of defensiveness that she gives to her troops makes up for some of the offensiveness that she doesn't give to her troops. What I mean by that is this is a character that's going to benefit you by living longer. The longer she stays around, the more she spreads her curse, the more damage your enemies take. And also, let's not forget, she heals your team. Okay, she heals your team when she does, I believe, Siphon heals this unit 30% of the damage taken. Or actually, maybe it's just her curse. Yeah, right here. Regardless, she's going to somewhat heal you like Geralt and Layla do. Except Geralt and Layla, their problem is they can't live long enough to actually be effective. She can. She's there for the whole battle. She's tough, she's tanky. Now we're just talking about her offensive capabilities here, okay? And this is a unit that really gives a lot of defense to her troops. Also, I'd like to point out, mine's at a little over 3,500 power. I don't have any runestones in her yet. I don't even have her fully bonded. She's probably got like 5% to all her stats, and her units have 10%, but I don't have any of the other bonds done. So another thing I'd like to point out, equipment. A lot of the people just say, just build her for magic defense. Don't worry about anything else. I think Death's Robe is a big deal on her. She's going to be alive long enough to spam this. And Death's Robe, when it procs, is for 2 turns. Okay? Enemies are going to take 20% more damage for 2 turns. So who cares if she's only giving 10% of her attack stat to her troops? If this procs, the enemy's going to take 20% more damage anyway for the next 2 turns. And it's not just going to be from her troops, it's going to be from your whole team. So I think Death's Robe is kind of overlooked on her. I really think it's great for her. And I'm going to keep Oliver's staff on her too. It increases her healing, which is great. And it also has an effect where it increases the damage taken by the enemy by 17% for 1 turn. So the most important thing is it increases healing by 12%. And that's going to be her healing herself, her healing her troops, her healing the rest of your units with all her awesome abilities. And of course I put King's Crown on her because that way she can buff people around her. And it also gives magic defense and hit points. That's huge for her. And of course the speed boots. But like I said, if I wasn't running a flyer unit, I would put Blood Pact on her because it gives like 600 hit points and then it gives like 6% hit points. So that would make her do a lot more damage. But these are just some early on thoughts about Listell. I only have her at level 56. I'm not even halfway done with her yet. But just off of the short amount of time that I've had to play with her, I've already seen a lot of misunderstanding on YouTube, online, about this character. And maybe that has something to do with people trying to review her that don't have her. They don't. They're just looking at a wiki page. I'm actually seeing this character get used. I'm using her, and I'm watching how these skills work. I'm seeing the healing being done. I'm watching the damage. I'm watching vampire bats tear up archer units. It's amazing. Listell is definitely one of my favorite characters at this point. So she's going to be in there with Basil, tearing shit up. And all this talk about her just being PvP, man, get that garbage out of there. She ain't just PvP. There are a lot of PvE battles where enemies heal. She can turn that against them. And not to mention, she can just do a whole bunch of damage. Yeah, it's going to cost her some of her health. But even if she takes half of her health, she's still at 3,000 hit points. And then she has some vampire bats that are still at 6,000. So she's still at, 8,000-9,000 health after she hurts herself. And then the very next turn, she uses Siphon, heals herself up and her bats. And even when she's at half health, you don't really have to worry about her dying, because those vampire bats are going to be some of the strongest, toughest vampire bats you've ever seen in this game. Their defense is just going to be through the roof. So I will make a more in-depth video about her, but these are just some little tidbits I'd like to share with you guys, because there's already some misinformation going on. A lot of people were excited about this character, so a lot of people wanted to make videos about her. And unfortunately, some of these people didn't actually pull her, so they're just, yeah. So, Mobile Gamers Unite, I'm out. You guys have a good day.